Hello boys and girls, welcome to another session of Dwarf Fortress Abbeydent. I'm already in the middle of things. Last session we had a siege which we spent about an hour letting them go into our magma trap, and it wasn't worth anything. So we ultimately fought them in the open inside our fortress walls. Hello Ferko. Lost 2 military dwarves plus a few civilists. So now I'm currently replacing the dead military dwarves. Trumpets of Tapering lost Swordsmaster. So they got a new farmer to become one. Next squad missing somebody is Brass Medicine. Checking now. Therapist is our ex-dwarves. Looking at the idle dwarves who are familiar with X. Nobody is. There is one dabbling X user who got 64 experience. Limul Matul, I'm going. It's a clothier. Oh boy, I hate to lose clothiers. But whatever. Let's go get him in there. And check the schedules. So we've got train 8 minimum, train 8 minimum, because it's a squads of 10, right? So every squad should have at least 8 people training. This is too little. We will modify this to 8 soldiers. These got 8 minimum. These got 8 minimum. These got 8 minimum. 5 minimum is too little. Late floors. You are too lazy. Modify order. Six minimum is also not nice. I think we are through with our yep. So, and let's continue our dumping. You see, we've got lots of bears. Magma trap is still being refilled. So first things we will do now is build another bridge. Hi Knapper, hello. Hello. How's my life? Well, polarized. Between states of despair and depression and happiness. Races. Yeah, I think we want yeah, this to raise like this. Gabbro blocks is fine. We will build it there. We will call it access to drain 1, and we will have it here. I'll take bright red on dark red. Access to train 2. And go to this and place it here. And have it here. Liver, Gabbro. Was that a Pilsner? Of course it was, yes. What else? Anything else? Yes, there is anything else. We need to link up this bridge. Detour to trap. I think this one should be already linked by now. No, it's not. See, that's the problem. Detour to trap. Detour 2 to pump trap. Detour 2 to pump trap. Link up a bridge. This one. Anything else we want? So they will come down. These two are linked. And we will we'll build another bridge here because we've lost this one so many times already. And we will call it access to pump trap. Didn't we use this? Detour to pump trap, access to access to pumps. And let's actually change the symbol to this. Access to pumps. This is a pump symbol. Hello, microcontroller, or what are you called? Control trooper. How am I thinking of giving this war of mine another try? Well, I don't know. I just feel so bad when I play these war stories games. Yeah, I don't know. I actually wanted to suggest that Devil's Advocate requests the game back because I haven't played it for more than 1 hour. He can still get the refund if he requests a refund within 14 days. But he's not appearing in my streams. I don't know whether I angered him so much that he doesn't attend them anymore. But I can still contact him on Steam. I guess I should do that. I will have to see friends list. Oh, I'm not even signed in, Bay. Yeah, Devil. I don't even know what was his Steam name. Gift or copy of. This guy. Okay. Where is he? Last online 2 days ago. Yeah, I don't see the it coming that I pick it up again because it's not a bad game. I don't mind. That's a game reminiscent of I don't know what, something like in a way like Goblins, where you have 3 people, each can do different things, and you care for each other and do stuff and get through difficult situations. Yeah, it's a nice game, but I don't have the time to play nice game. I have a extremely limited time, and I want only to play the best of all games, which really are fun to me to play. If the game is not fun to play for me, why should I play it? I don't say it's a bad game. I just say I don't like it. And if you don't like some kind of activity, why would you pursue it? So that's how I think about it. I'm sorry. It just didn't hit. It just didn't hit the spot for me. So it hugely depends on timing. I know that I happen to like some games which I normally would not even touch, just because I tried them in a specific state of my mind, when I was in a specific mood, and they just hit the spot and they fit right and they felt right at that moment. So that's something which gives me a little bit of variability and trying out new stuff. But either it wasn't the right time, or it's not the right game for me in general. It's just nothing I'd like to play. So, greetings, Dwarf Comic. Last session, Dwarf Comic, we had a siege, and we actually managed to wait long enough for the goblins to get into our magma trap and trigger our magma trap. But we have lost way too many civilians, because at first I restricted the civilians to inside, which prohibited them from doing any work outside. So there was massive job cancellation, and it took about half a year or 4 or 5 months until the siege finally went down this chute and up again, and finally triggered the trap. It was a reasonable number of invaders, something over 100 I figure, but they were spread all over the map. While the first were already triggering the magma trap, some were still outside our city walls. So this sort of magma trap, as we do have it, will never really work. Not the whole siege will just not work and proceed as a group. We had about, I don't know, 10, maybe 12 individuals trapped there while it was triggered, and it worked, together with 2 scholar visitors and together with 1 or 2 civilians. 1 civilian died because of being attacked there. And the reason why they've been attacked, because at some point it took so long for the siege to enter that I lifted the all dwarves inside alert, so that they started to find path out of the fortress. You see, they wanted to get out of the fortress, and the only way out would be through these storage of metal bars out here, down this staircase, and down the magma trap, actually coming to expect the goblins. And while the goblins were coming up this switchback road, my dwarves were coming down the switchback road, and they met somewhere in the middle and started to fight. So, well, yeah, that was unexpected. But I couldn't really... What is this? Copper! Hey! What do we do with this copper? Can we melt it? Of course we can! Wonderful. Yeah. That's that was copper molten in magma, but not quite dissolved. Interesting. I didn't know this existed. Anyway, yeah, so they had to die as well. We should find bronze as well, because there was a bronze colossus as well. Who died? Oh, look at this. Right. Yeah, so we ultimately decided to open this bridge, assemble my military here, open the bridge, and let the rest of the incoming siege fight. We've lost 1 or 2 dwarves there, plus the few civilians there. So, and that's how it ended. We have lots of mess now to clean up. And I guess I will not want to employ this big magma trap ever again. I figured in that time in which we waited and were really restricted of what we can do by the siege, it would have been much better if we just build a big shooting tower here, where we position our marks dwarves, and they will shoot at the siege as they come, and try to cause some panic. Yeah, Ferko says also, I get it. I do not like games that are sad. That's not the reason I play games. Of course. Yeah. Well, games that are sad. For example, this Ethan Carter mystery solving, puzzle solving, or putting pieces together game was kind of sad. Murder of Ethan Carter. Some mystery to lift. It was okay. This, what is it called? What was the other stories? Narrative. Dear Esther. That was a weird game. It was nothing much of a game, but still okay to play for me. And I don't know, sad games. Dwarf Fortress is a sad game as well. Sad things occur. Dwarves die in how do you say, in cruel circumstances, which may be sad, but it's fun. So yeah. Right. So I don't know whether we should start building now or start building later. I think we shall start building now. Looks like the bulk of the siege is going to be here anyway. So well, at least we've built a cool trap. Yes, indeed. It was fun building it for 12 years, or how long it took. You know, I figured for our next fortresses, maybe we should abandon the idea of any kind of magma trap, any kind, except I'm actually very I'm actually very very much looking forward to this trap, how it would work, and I think it could work. The problem is that this trap is way down below, where really none of the siegers care to walk through. If we could manage to build such a trap around somewhere at the entry level, where there is somewhere close to the entrance into our fortress, that would be something. Now that would be something where it wouldn't take the siege too long to get to the trap, because you know, if you leave your siege on your map for a long time, you are risking that a caravan will come and get slaughtered and all sorts of problems, and your dwarves will not be able to perform tasks which they would otherwise be able to perform because of restricted movement and so on. So how do we get a magma trap that close to the entrance? The only way is to transport magma, either embark on a volcano or transport magma from down below up to the top level. And how do you do that? With minecarts, and with exploited minecarts, where you use all sorts of impulse ramps, because forget about powered minecarts, they are not going to cut it. You would need tons and tons of power. So let's learn about minecarts and how to exploit them, and how to magically invent or magically create power for them by game exploits and ramp exploits, or whatever there is, all sorts of glitches, so that they move on their own. And once this is done, we could think about transporting magma by minecart from down below, above ground, to a reservoir for an above ground magma trap. So that is my last hope for magma traps. Otherwise I just give up on them forever. Or until I find something even better than we are building right now, right here. This pump trap. Floor grates needs grate. Okay, we will have a grate in time. Check our stocks. 500 iron bars, 44 pig iron, 228 steel bars. I can't remember a time where I had more than that. 228 steel bar, that's worth a fortune. We could indeed think of making armor for our military. Let's check the equipment in Dwarf Therapist. We see that they are mostly missing armor on their feet, missing metal high boots. Okay, so let's make some steel high boots. Yeah, almost everybody is missing steel high boots. Let's check on our stocks. Legwear, whether we actually have any high boots. Enhanced view, maybe. High boot. We've got 158 copper high boots. Why are they still missing high boots? Perhaps because they have steel high boots prescribed. Steel high boots. Why aren't they using them? This is a military dwarf. Does he have high boots? He's got no high boots. Yeah, we will just make some high boots. Maybe define another uniform and have that armor, steel, high boots. Also steel gloves, gauntlets. Some of them are missing. Are missing a. Yeah, let's make these two first. How are we doing with marble? Yeah, that's okay. And the next dwarf I see with unmet needs because of not making any items, I will let him make pottery. And we wanted to release some sparrows. Just don't know how you release them. There are forgotten beasts out here, you know. I'm not sure I should wager out. I should how do you say, not wager, I should risk sticking my nose out. I don't know, lots of dangerous creatures out there. But these caverns are pretty much explored by now. It wouldn't bring really too much of an advantage to releasing the sparrows. Oh, hello Ratsog, welcome. Floor grate needs grate. Why is this suspended? Bum, 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 bum. I guess we will need something which will which will release the water here. We should probably have a stockpile of ilmenite somewhere. Ilmenite is fun. So do we have any new dead citizens? We can make a memorial hall. Wow, that's a good thing. I never had a memorial hall. Well, I will not do it right here, right now. The beaker further musings. Ah, yes, we are binding books after all, aren't we? For goodness sake, tend the hides. We can tend the hides. We have, wow, we have some big dog hides. How can we have big dog? They are named. I thought named creatures are considered sentient creatures and you cannot really butcher them. Okay, we have some more sparrow eggs. Wow. Problem is, I don't know which sparrows are really sitting on the eggs or which not. I would not like to kill any of the sparrows hatching the things. And look at this. This is our trapped goblins. So yeah, maybe we can have a little killing arena, execution chamber. Making drinks alright, making drinks alright. Maybe we got some sandstone. This is some fine axe dwarves. I need to mine this, I forgot. Completely forgot. pump safety 1 and 2. Magma pump safety 1 and 2. I am slightly no, this is not good. I wanted it to be the other way around. Yeah, that's what I get from playing drunk. What was that? Oh, that's the Forgotten Beast. Better close off the bridge. It's found the way into our fortress. But it's too late. No, it hasn't found the way yet. But it's looking, it's waiting, it's lurking. It knows exactly where to go if the magma level would be lower. It's flying, but it's not magma safe. Hello, Veldy. Feeling well? Oh, yes. It's okay. Toffee has come. Hello, Toffee. A towering eyeless scorpion. It has a spiral shell and it undulates rhythmically. Beware, it's poisonous. Sting. Wow. They will fight. Fight. The itchy and scratchy show. Yeah. I guess they are going to fight some place where we won't see it. It sounds like a pet scorpion, yes. Yeah, Virgo, cheers. It's already empty, this one. Today I had a look at how do you set a trigger in an oscilloscope, because I will need that at work. I have designed a test case for a certain feature which would require monitoring it in the oscilloscope, and I asked my testers whether they have ever worked with an oscilloscope. I said, yeah, we kind of know oscilloscope, but we didn't really use them. So how can it be? I mean, that they studied electronics or some sort of, yeah, basically electronics. How can they not have any experience with oscilloscope? They are bachelors in electronics, or somehow had an electronics school. And why don't or any kind of electronics engineering or engineering kind of school? How can they not know the oscilloscope? And me, as a former linguist, know actually more about oscilloscope than them. And well, then, so nobody knows how to operate these things. We have pretty decent oscilloscopes as a test lab equipment, and we actually don't use them. Why don't we use them? Nobody knows, and there were no test cases designed. And I looked at some requirements of the device we test and see, well, this would be actually testable, only properly testable with an oscilloscope. So I write the test case, and now it's me who has to actually teach them how to operate these things. And I don't know much about oscilloscope. I only managed to do one simple thing, just monitoring some audio signal on a microphone line or whatever. And but now it's about trigger. How do you trigger an oscilloscope? I must set up the oscilloscope that it lurks and senses the moment where the power supply drops. And there are some condensers and and there are some capacitors and some backup battery power supply in the device, which switches on when the main power supply is dropped and cut. So I designed a test case where you set up an oscilloscope which senses when the main power supply cuts, and then shows you some lines or how the device starts using the backup power supply. And nobody knows how to do that. And now the team boss or team manager said, well, it's about time we do these test cases. See to it that it's done on Monday. And I say, okay, wonderful. So on Monday I have to learn enough about oscilloscope from YouTube videos over the weekend that I can on Monday turn on a random oscilloscope and actually set it up so that it triggers on power drop and records what is going on other channels. So yeah, but I think I got it figured out. I found already a video explaining something like that with a power on edge, where a power supply is turned on, and it's looking for the raising edge of the power on, whereas I'll be looking at the falling edge of the power on. Falco Nagi showing up at work with an oscilloscope like a boss. Yeah, I have to. It just struck me because people who have studied electrical engineering, many of them who I asked even designed their own electrical currents and PCBs and actually etched PCBs and had some soldering. They don't know how to operate an oscilloscope. I wonder. Red Sox says I would use LabVIEW. Must be a pretty advanced oscilloscope. Oh, we have really decent things. They are somewhat aged by now, but they are still very nice. That's very nice devices. Like it's devices for dozens of thousands dollars or euros. It's really decent oscilloscopes. If the project ever ends, and but this equipment belongs to Volkswagen, right? We have only borrowed it from Volkswagen, or Volkswagen lent it to us to perform the tests. But if this project ever ends, I don't suppose Volkswagen will have any use for this kind of scopes. I would so much like to get one of them, but I don't see it happening. It's really decent stuff. And I know a little bit about the specs of oscilloscope because I have Googled which one to buy for my Arduino projects, which are by now as good as abandoned, but maybe not abandoned forever. So I still might get around to do some electronics and oscilloscoping experiments and this kind of things, and then might acquire an oscilloscope later myself. Falco says, yes, you should. I mean, look how many buttons they have. They have lots of buttons. I like those buttons. And Arduino is really fun, yes. Now you've got you have to have the ideas what to do. Hey, it looks like we've built the Gabbro Bridge, access to drain 2. This other bridge built as well. It's already linked. How about this other? This other is not built yet. So Ferko, how far are you with your LED, water-cooled LED lamp? You know, the main thing I don't really like, I really don't like about the design of that water-cooled LED lamp is that it's got so many edges. It catches dust. I can't imagine having it standing around for a year in my room and on my desk somehow. Do you know how dusty that thing will get? And you can't really wipe it off with any kind of napkin or whatever. Because it's those fine edges, these bolts and everything, spacers and whatever it has. How do you clean that thing? You know, a desk lamp. I've had a desk lamp for a long time in Leipzig, and I cleaned it every, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks, and it was okay. But because it was a normal lamp where you just could wipe it off, but that kind of lamp with the LED, oh boy, it certainly looks nice, but how do you clean that? Dust will burn off. Well, you wish. Dust will burn in, I tell you, not burn off. No, but I really had to write a comment to that guy who made the video, because the way he made it was really, really good. The camera work, the lighting work on the scenes which we filmed, the edit and the editing and the commentary was very professional, and a pleasure to watch. Even if I didn't care much about the project he did, but the way he did it and the way he presented it, I see how many hours, or I see the amount of work behind such a video, and hats off. Really, he did really do a good job there. So where is my Gabbro blocks? Maybe you can, Ferko, you can link it for the other guys in chat to see what we are talking about. LED lamp and video. If you still have it somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Ah, look at this, we are out of coal. So look at this guy, he has bound a codex, copper bound codex. Sources for everyone. Reliability of sources. That's good. Yeah, he uses a CPU water, CPU heatsink, or AMD CPU water cooler to cool an LED, a really powerful LED, I shall add. And it uses a special lens to focus the light emitted by the LED. Look at the miasma everywhere here. Oh, petitions. Purpose of study is approved. So this bridge is also built. And it's not named yet. Actually, it is named. Look at this. I need to get these buckets. I don't know why they ended up there. As they were hauling the water, they dropped the buckets there. It looks like we don't have any. Oh, we have one gem cutter. Exactly one gem cutter. Okay, so guys who have no needs, who have needs to do creative things, could become gem cutters as well. Do we have milk of lime? Milk of lime needs what do we need to make milk of lime? I think we need ash, and we need quicklime, and quicklime we need calcium. Quicklime, a milk of lime is made from quicklime at an ashery. Ashery is here. Milk of lime. On repeat, and we need to make quicklime, calcium carbonate, stones, and bags. Don't we have a glass maker? Because nobody is making the glass grates, but we do have many glass makers. They are all in the military, however. I think we can dig more gabbro. Now we have gabbro here. Just need a workshop to process it actually. You made me a character in this war of mine, really? I didn't know you can make characters there. So what's the clock? 10 p.m. But it's Friday. I think I'll take another beer before I go to bed and be right back. You're adding Jovir to War of Mine. Jovir in War of Mine, oh boy. Look at the amount of buckets we have. Steam community com shared files. Let me check it. Content character. What is... Isn't it... I don't understand this. I thought this is... I thought you made me a playable character in the... this dwarf of mine. It's a picture of me from the video from the war of mine as when I played it. Okay. This one's suspended, isn't it? Yes. So we need to remove construction. Actually, not remove construction. Oh yes, remove construction here. Dig a channel here. Smooth. Here and channel here. And above this we need Digo channel. We need the gear assembly made of gabbro blocks, gabbro mechanisms. We'll build a bridge. We'll name these bridges. Where is the single tilde? Oh, there it is. You've got to be kidding. You want to tell me that I have my depot access it's lowered, man. Why is this inaccessible? Why is my depot access? Ah! I know. Wagons cannot pass through cage traps. That's it. Is that right? Let me check. Traps will block wagon access. Right. I should have known earlier. Well, it's too late now. Well, I hope they bring some logs. Scholar withdraws from society. Let's see. Is he going to write a super book? My bear skin is going to rot. Mechanism. Artifact mechanism. Oh, yes. Bars of metal, cut gems, quarry, forest. I don't have logs. I have only 4 logs. But okay. What about we make scroll? Make choir. We can't make choir because of we need sheet. We need scroll rollers. So let's make some scroll rollers. We don't really need more iron bars. Oh, do we? Oh, they can always bring them, pig iron. But we also take gold and platinum. They need seeds. Okay, let's take a note. Backpacks. Tools. Plants, rings, meat, toys. Okay. No, I don't want this. There's an artifact. A long willow crossbow. Wow, why is the crossbow not stored? If I'd atom smash now, I would atom smash an artifact. Oh, that's diorite over here. I can't explain it otherwise that the sparring dwarfs sometimes glitch through walls. They must occasionally glitch through the walls. Gabbro mechanism. 60,000. Image of 3 giant pythons. Hey, we have a book. No. Masterful copper shield. Okay. Oh, that's the items which my dwarves have bestowed names upon. So this guy has unmet needs because of creativity. Pray to stunner, practice a craft. This guy, Inod, will be our gem cutter. Oh, Martinello, hello, greetings. Dan is here. A lava trap being built, or is this just casual? Well, lava trap is the pump trap is being built. The lava trap, I think we will abandon it. It's no use. I have tried it in the last siege, which we really had the chance. What was the last siege? Was the first siege which we had the chance to really don't let go anywhere unless or don't let go anywhere but the magma trap. And of a 100-member siege, we were able to melt about 10-12 members in 10 or 12 invaders in the magma, and that was it. So that magma trap never works. It's a fun design, but the practical purpose of it is absolutely zero. There is a crossbow artifact here, right? Tosidenol. I need to assign one of my dwarves the Tosidenol. And there is another crossbow. This thing. Artifact crossbow. What is this L? Giant leopard. Yeah, we have small leopards. There are some steel weapons being forged now, steel armor. Can't I find blue jade? Okay, did you use an audio interface for your mic? Do you plug in directly into PC? Well, it's got a USB interface, so I plug it via USB into the PC because it has an, what is it called? SEO driver, I think it's called. Audio something input output. What is an SEO driver? SEO driver. Audio stream input output. Yes, SEO driver. There is SEO drivers for this one. So yeah, the problem with these devices is that USB is, as far as I know, a protocol built on delivering packets of information, and audio is a stream. You need a constant stream of audio information. You don't want audio to arrive bit by bit. You want a constant stream, and so there are certain issues with buffering at the computers, and SEO driver takes somehow care of the buffer so that there is low latency, and even though via USB it gets packets of data, it still feels kind of like a stream. So that's what the SEO driver does, and then the computer can use it as a microphone. So I plug it directly into the PC. The other option would be to have it plugged into a ADC. Yes, ADC, basically an analog digital converter, and that converter somehow plugged into the PC. Or you could, because it has XLR outputs, it can output analog XLR, analog audio signal via XLR. So, but it has a cheap ADC, so it can provide its own digital signal, and that's what I use. So it's not routed over any mixer or stuff like that, or over any audio mixing console. So do you have any experience with ultra-wide monitors? Well, no, I don't have. I think 16:9 is wide enough for me. If I could make the choice, I would actually have something like 8:5 or slightly 4:3, 3:2 monitor would be a good aspect ratio for me. 16:9, I think it's ultra wide, but for games like iRacing, I of course combine my 3 screens into a what is it, 5760 or 5780 by 1080 monitor, so it virtually acts as one super wide monitor, like 3 times 19, 3 times 16:9 monitor, if you know what I mean. So for the computer, it acts as one big ultra wide screen, and experience with that is it is great for watching movies. If I watch widescreen movies, I see the main part in the middle and a little bit of the rest in the thing, and then I have huge black bars. And it's good. I don't mind the little bezel gap there. So if you would have a true ultra wide monitor, you wouldn't have it anyway, this bezel. So it's good. If you're thinking of buying one, especially for widescreen gaming, I think it's okay. It could be okay. Certainly these ultra wide monitors have a 16:9 mode, which they can simulate if you really need that, so that they would have like that sort of not letterbox, but the opposite, pillar box. Letterbox is where you have black bars on the top and bottom, and pillar box is where you have black bars on left and right. So you have a pillar boxed picture if you trying to display 4:3 aspect ratios picture on a 16:9. So we have pillars, black pillars, or otherwise black letterboxes. So yeah, If it's affordable for you, and if you have read about its specifications for your purposes, whatever you need to do to have it for, either you need something like good colors, or you need low latency for gaming, or you need nice even background illumination of the monitor. So yeah, go for it. I think it's okay. And yes, of course, you can stack monitors. Like, what do you mean monitors vertically? Stack them. What I see people doing is sometimes buying widescreen monitors, like 16 by 1 by 9, turning them so they are actually in portrait mode, not in landscape mode, and then they have like one row of about 5 16 by 9 monitors, but in portrait mode, giving them a reasonably wide picture and reasonably high picture as well. So they have like 1920p times, or the width of, I don't know, like 5 times 1080 by 1920. Yes, I have never tried that. You currently have an ultra wide, but I'm considering going back to 16 by 9 for gaming and keep it for softwares like Photoshop and Premiere. Keep the ultra wide for Photoshop and Premiere. Yeah. Gaming on. I think games are still written for 16 by 9, because let's face it, 90% of the gamers do not have high-end equipment, and those masses of kids who play games today just play it on a cheap $1,000 computer from their parents, and those things don't have any super ultra wide. They have a 16 by 9 1080p monitor, and that's it. So, or they play console games on the TV, which they have either 4K sometimes in the richer families, or 1080p. So yeah, I think it will last about another decade at least, until 4K monitors or 2K monitors will replace our old 16 by 9 monitors. It's I know the time I had a 12 or something like 1200p or 1080p full HD monitors. The standard at gaming was still something like 720p, or it was by far no standard to game in full HD. So I was ahead of the time, and with the full HD, and today still full HD is the norm. And it's because, do you really want to game in 4K? You can't really game in 4K today. Come on. I think there is a much better experience in gaming actually ultra wide, like 3 screens, than gaming on 1 screen 4K, because the wide field of view in games like Witcher and especially these shooter games people play gives you such an advantage. I know it from Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous. I would not play it if I would have to play it on a single monitor. Come on, that's too narrow field of view. Or Flight Simulator, but nobody plays Flight Simulator anyway. Or racing games. The wide field of view is so superior, so that if I had the choice between playing in 4K, I must admit I never really tried to play in 4K. Between playing in 4K and playing ultra wide, I'd choose ultra wide. Maybe people who played 4K, you say, yeah, you know, the superb resolution. If I had the choice between 4K and 3 screens, which I never tried 3 screens, they would probably choose 4K. So it depends on what you get your hands on first, I guess. But of course, ultimately, let's face it, would be best to play 4K with 3 screen wide, which would be like 12K, and no graphics card is capable of that. Only the high-end graphics card are somewhat suitable to actually drive a 4K game. So it'll take a couple more years before really it's convenient at an affordable price. Of course, you could have, I don't know, like a triple SLI Titan X or whatever card for like $6,000 graphics cards and stuff, which possibly could do something like a 3-screen 4K, but nobody can do that. Even if you had the hardware, the amount of games who actually support this, you can count on one hand, I guess. And yeah, as Dan says, vertically stacked monitors. I was thinking about extending my 3 screens to 6 screens, but I would then really need a stand for 6 screens, some sort of support for holding 6 screens, and you would want also 6 equal screens really. So consider the cost of one monitor. One decent monitor costs like, well, let's say $500–600 if we are modest. And that times 6 is like $3,500. Plus you probably drop another $600 for the support only. So you are looking at $4,000 for a 6-screen setup. And that means that you already have the graphics card to actually connect 6 screens to. So, well, yeah, I was really thinking about it, but yeah. And there is other things I can dump my money or throw my money at. Yeah, even for 21:9, most games don't support it. It's a shame. I found out about games are tailored to 16:9. I know they are, and if they support, very few of them support custom resolution 21:9. I see. Yeah. I know iRacing does, and that other thing, Flight Simulator does, but I probably don't play these games. I don't know about Witcher or any shooter games, or I don't even know if Star Citizen supports it. But I'd imagine the modern shooters, like what is super popular now, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, doesn't it support something like 21:9? I mean, what is it for the game? For the game. The game is situated in a player. He has got a field of view, and there's a virtual world about him, and it's just a virtual frame for the field of view of the player. What they give you, either they give you 16:9, or they give you 4:3, or they give you whatever 21:9. They give you 3 times 16:9. They give you whatever you want. So why not support any sort of custom resolution? Why do they confine themselves to like the top 6 used resolutions to support them? I don't understand these game makers. But I don't understand anything about game making. Maybe it's really much more complicated than I think it is. But well, I think in iRacing I couldn't technically, or if I had something really like custom resolution, let's say 4333 times 2387, I guess the game wouldn't be happy with that. Yeah, but I don't know what's the reason really to support only some resolution and not all of them. Then you of course have the windowed mode, and the windowed mode, the window dimensions pretty much dictate on what sort of resolution should the game render in. But I've got the feeling that, I think the general opinion about windowed mode is that it's way slower than full screen mode, for reasons unclear to me. But it's probably the way drivers work. Yeah, 4x3 actually there was, yeah, 4x3, it's no longer done. You get the last 4x3 display was, I think 640 by 480, right? That was the last 4x3 display. Because all other, even though they look like 4x3, they had non-square pixels, so they weren't actually 4x3. Or the last 4x3 might have been 1024 by 786. That might have been also 4x3. And that's not really usable anymore. Even the simplest software is not happy with this sort of resolution. The buttons in the user interface of softwares, in Windows software, are just too big for that. Now I see. For the 4K displays, we would really need a vector-based user interface, not pixel-based, but really vector-based or DPI based. I know Windows 10 did a little bit of step towards a DPI-aware user interface when they see, okay, I can't really offer you a 10 pixel high font in the menus because I know you have a 4K monitor of a resolution of like 2,500 by 3,000, and 10 pixels would be so small that I will just zoom the UI and make everything bigger that you can actually see it and read it. So that's what Windows does, but it's not as good as I would wish. I'd wish the user interface that's actually scaled up, or somehow a proper vector-based user interface would be actually defined in vectors and only rendered into pixels, whereas the user interface as it is in most software GUI is that it's actually drawn in pixels and then scaled up or down. So I think there is no operating system which has an underlying vector modeled user interface underlyingly, because on the low pixel resolution it looks awful, and even on a full HD resolution it might not look as good as it will probably never look as good as a pixeled raster-based user interface tailored to a particular resolution. It will, I think a raster-based pixel interface will always look better if it's displayed at the resolution it was tailored for than vector-based. The only company which seems to do a good job at it is Apple. When I see their icons, and it's been like that for years, they draw their icons very big and somehow scale them down to whatever you need. So I don't know what's the native resolution of the Apple program icons, but it's fairly big as nobody would display it. and whatever you scale it down to, it always looks neat and nice. So they are making a good job, but it's still pixel based. But it looks well for big resolutions because they oversample it, like right. They draw the user interface or the image of the native image of the icons and the user interface elements in big resolution, and then they scale it down to whatever you use, and it still somehow looks good because they have special an anti-aliasing algorithm for their fonts. Damn! I missed the merchants. Yeah, whatever. It can't be taken back. So, but I see none of this on Windows. Yeah, Samuel, monitor edges, the bezels, yeah, they annoy you. You get used to it. What can you do? That's probably going to stay there forever. Yeah, I guess Leo, they this ultra wide format never really annoyed me, because when I stumbled upon a game which could not support like 570 5000 something times 1080, then I decomposed my virtual ultra wide screen into 316 by 9s, and I used the middle 16 by 9 for the game, and it was okay with it. Yeah, I guess you can't decompose your 21 by 9 monitor into into something like that. But doesn't it have a custom mode? Like, I know I have 16 by 9 monitors, but I can, through their internal menu and setup, I can make them 4 by 3. It's possible. So I can use them as a 4 by 3 screen with pillar boxes. So I'd suppose your 21 by 9 monitor can also do that. That it can work as a 16 by 9. Dan says, I think the purpose of widescreen monitors is to give the user more space for the UI or hard elements, because if it wouldn't be for those things, the 4:3 ratio is aesthetically superior. I really I don't know. I think it's not really true. What I struggle with at 16:9 screens is that the user interface you work with really is built that it has a top menu bar, then it has an icon bar, then it has a status bar, and all sorts of horizontal bars which eat up the little vertical space you have. So from this much space you have on a 16:9 screen in a Photoshop kind of environment or Premiere like environment, you have about this much of really vertical working space because of all the menus and your Windows start bar and task bar and whatnot. So it really eats up vertical space, and then you end up with a stripe of workspace, and that I feel is inconvenient. With 4:3, well, you had a damn narrow field of view, which was uncomfortable, but with the height was relatively generous, so that menus and task bars and status bars eat up 30% of your vertical space. You still had a decent amount of vertical workspace, but now it shrunk to support screens 16:9, and there is not really much of vertical panels and bars. Well, I have to grant Photoshop is highly configurable, so you can have like toolbars which are vertical, you can have layer panels where you have layers listed in a vertical way. Windows, you can modify Windows to have actually the start button and the taskbar vertical, so you can reconfigure your whole user interface to have the width eaten up by static user interface elements, and so the working space gets actually narrower. Yes, then, but I don't see that in most of the things. So I still think a lot of user interface is designed with horizontally aligned elements for you to click and to have permanently displayed rather than vertically. Also, for anyone who is doing text editing, or even I think even coding, even some, well, it depends. I never really did much of coding, but if you have to read code and scroll a lot because you only see a thin vertical slice of it, wouldn't it be better if you would have it displayed in a 9:16 monitor? But then again, in programming IDEs, you have special panels and sub windows with function list and preview of this or that and whatnot. So I think it depends on the how configurable is your working setup. I think vertical monitors are really good for text editing and writing texts. So that might be better. I have tried at work two 16:9 monitors vertical with a big bezel line right in the middle, and I can tell you, if you have a bezel, I don't mind bezel lines a little bit, but if it's right in the middle, oh boy, it's so bad. but I used it for big Excel spreadsheets, so it was okay to use for a while. But I could tolerate it. But anyone who got to my work desk and looked at my monitor setup said, "Dude, how can you work with this bezel line right in the middle?" Well, yeah, I don't know. Ferko says, drinks ran out, went to cellar, got a wine named Black Sheep, just like Terry Jack's song. Yeah, Black Sheep of the family. Dan says, but 4x9, 4x3 and 16x9, it's a minor difference, really. Well, I guess it is, yeah. A minor difference, but it is a difference. The problem is that you don't really have 4x3 monitor with a 1080p. What you get as a 4x3 monitor, what's the vertical resolution of the best 4x3 monitor, or of a reasonable 4x3 monitor you could get? Tell me. It's I think the last 4x3, actually I know the last 4x3 resolution. I had it on my laptop. It was 1600 by 1200. I had that on a high-end Dell laptop. It was good, but it was way too tiny for the small 15-inch display or whatever it had. 17-inch, I don't remember. It really hurt my eyes to read that small. So what I did to save my eyes from hurting is I used the non-native 1024 by 768 on that very fine display. Well, yeah. See, it's a minor difference, really. Not sure why the format became the norm. Well, it is better for movies. It is better. It's still not the native cinema movie resolution, because look at this. We have almost cleared up all the junk from the siege. We have 10 idlers and stuff. Well, excellent. So now we probably can take a look at if you have our these things probably can be, yeah, that's a long list of junk. So I don't know why it is 16 by 9. I wouldn't mind 16 by 9 if the resolution would be about twice as high. It would be something like, what do we have, 1080? It would be like 2160 by whatever it would calculate to, 1920 by 12 by 2, like, right, 3960, yeah, 2160 to 3960 would be, well, that's basically the 4K resolution, isn't it? So yeah, I guess a 4K screen for me with, now I have diagonal 27 inches, so I would need twice as much, so I would need something like 54 inches. Is that right? No. Yes, 54 inch diagonal, 4K. I think I could work with that, but that's I should try that. I think there are such screens out there, aren't they? Martinello says, I'm currently testing a custom resolution 1400 by 1080. It's basically a full HD 4:3. Ah, isn't it? Yeah, but there is another format like 1440 by 1080. 1440. I think that's a normed semi full HD format or whatever they call it. 1440 by 1080. But it might be this 4:3. Yeah. Yeah, but back to my imagination. Actually, 27 inches is okay for a viewing distance like I have, which is about 1 yard. But I could do with 4 times as much and 4 times as big. That's so 57 inch 4K, which could be scaled down basically to have like 4 pixels representing 1 pixel, which would give you a true 16:9. Dan says, any new games after Dwarf Fortress or Abbeydent? Yeah, sorry, I missed that line. I read it, but I completely forgot to. I got distracted answering to other lines. Yes, I'm thinking about Angband, or either that or playing adventure mode in Dwarf Fortress. And to be honest, I think the new version of Dwarf Fortress is not as far as away, so we could probably start a completely new fortress in the new version. So do we have any trees which we could cut? I don't think so. It's a desert. It's a friggin' desert. No trees whatsoever. Ah, there is a saguaro thing. No other trees in sight. Yeah, the problem is I can't really build now any water wheels because I don't have wood and I missed the caravan. So I guess our only option is to make a bunch of gabbro blocks and try to do try to build the towers. Copper chain leggings sounds kinky, you say? Oh well, yeah, we have plenty of them because I thought it would be a good idea to have them to exploitably gain copper by crafting and melting items which produce more by melting than they need for crafting. Yeah, it turned out we don't really needed that. Dan says Angban was that other DF-like game. Maybe it's preferable or more entertaining. Hopefully, otherwise you could check some of those Steam games you've got off of your bucket list. Yeah, like what? Like Sims or Myst or no? Yeah. I'm really so happy with Dwarf Fortress. I can't believe that I'm not bored of Dwarf Fortress right now. Because in my previous Dwarf Fortress sprees, I felt like after 3 weeks I'm really fed up with Dwarf Fortress. I can't see it anymore. But not now really. And I've been playing it for how long? I guess it's been something like 10-12 weeks now. "68 episodes, 2 hours each." Pixelated awesomeness. Well, it's not always awesomeness, I have to admit. It's sometimes boring waiting and trial and error and reloading and save scumming. Samuel says the clacking of your keyboard while you play Dwarf has helped me with my insomnia. It's very relaxing ASMR. Good. If you can fall asleep to this nicely, then I'm happy to provide you some good night streams. Dan says, I can't really blame you for trying new games. I rarely play any games at all. I let Let's Players do it for me. You keep it to Dwarf Fortress. You find funny. Yeah. Thanks. Well, here and there I try something new, of course. But I guess Dwarf Fortress has become the game of my life. If I would have to choose one game which I would be able to play to the rest of my life and none other, then I would choose Dwarf Fortress, really. Can't imagine playing anything else. If I had to narrow down the choice to one. One and only game. So here we see the boundaries of the aquifer. And I think it's been quite enough for today. Yeah, it's almost midnight. Come on, guys. Let's get up tomorrow early at some reasonable time. Call it a day. I'll see you tomorrow, probably. Although tomorrow I'll have a lot of work because I wanted to cook something decent. Some sort of lavish meal. Yeah, so I'm not sure whether I will stream in the morning or whether I'll be busy with cooking half the day. Rune says, DF has generated some hilarious stories. I remember finding these videos who were storytelling of things happening. Oh yes, they are nice, but there's not too many of them. Yeah, but you know, making those is somewhat lonesome. I know I started making Boat Murdered. Oh, I made one first episode, and then dozens of others picked up the idea and made actually a full Boat Murdered an audio book basically published. And I wonder if I would be able to make it any better than some of them already did. I don't know. I think I would. The problem is when I do things, I like to do it while. It's strange when I spend my free time somehow. I associate streaming something with doing things in my free time. I feel like I have much less fun in doing things which I cannot share with others who would be equally interested in it, or at least have some fun watching it and have some kind of chat with me. So that's why I enjoyed doing these Dwarf Fortress tutorials, because we had a stream, the making of Dwarf Fortress tutorial, and we had then the finished product, one chapter of Dwarf Fortress tutorial. So that was fun to do. I don't know whether I could work on a Boat Murdered audiobook by streaming it. How much fun it would be. Maybe I'm just too lazy to do it. And I would probably pick other stories than Boat Murdered, because Boat Murdered, it's famous, but some fortress overseers did not really write it up that nicely, so that their chapters would really actually demand a dramaturgical rewrite. Like if you write a drama for BBC, like a radio drama or radio play, you would have to rewrite what they wrote as Boat Murder Diaries into a radio play. I think the first chapter is perfect as it is, because that guy really had talent of writing stories, but the other overseers are somewhat meager, or somewhat, well, yeah, mediocre at best. And but then the story is then really the hallmark of the story later is the action with the elephants and everything. So that's probably where it picks up momentum again and becomes interesting to listen to. But it would be quite an effort to ink it, put it down on paper, and really voice act it. Yes, they said they had very varying styles. Yes, and that's the problem. It's a bit of incoherent, and to make it pleasant to listen to, you would like to keep up with the style of the initial chapter, and with a reasonable brevity get to the action parts. Have something like a drama structure to it. Well, I don't consider myself a playwright, so I think other more talented people could do much better job at that. So that's why I'm sort of hesitating releasing any further Boat Murdered chapters. But anyway, guys, I thank you a lot for watching. We'll see each other tomorrow. Tomorrow is another day, but I don't know when will I start to stream. Probably not in the morning. Maybe expect it somewhat in the afternoon. Or maybe I will like to procrastinate, and instead of cooking and shopping, and cleaning up the kitchen, I will like to play and cook in the evening. I don't know. Whatever comes up into my mind. Right. So till tomorrow. Bye bye.